of the ball and will receive a free kick on the outer side half-forward flank. There's Miles' kick going into the full forward area looking for Whelan. Whelan a long way out of his ground and on a very, very sharp angle in that outer side forward pocket in front of Brenton Bills, and he takes the mark. A long way to go for Whelan, who's not the longest kick in the league, not by a long shot. Probably about 50 metres out, and he's coming in right in from the eastern side boundary. He's already kicked 7 goals. Let's see what he can do with this one. Brenton Bills on the mark. There's the kick. It's a floating screw punt right into the goal square. Otten's in front, gets 2 big hands to it. Holds it long enough for Murray Ducker to blow the whistle and award the mark to Dean Ottens. He's kicked 2 goals. He'll take his kick from almost the front kick-off line, only 10 metres out from goal and directly in front. Sturt 23-16, Torrens 13-14. Otten's coming in. There's the kick. It's a long kick. Is it going out of the stadium? Yes, it hits the back of the... No, it doesn't. It hits the back of the concrete and stays in the arena. That's Otten's 3rd goal. Sturt go to 24-16, Torrens 13-14. Scores from other grounds.
At Prospect, North Adelaide, 20 goals, 21. South, 13 goals, 10.
At Elizabeth, Centrals, 30 goals, 12. Woodville, 15 goals, 6.
At Glenelg, Norwood, 25-17, leading Glenelg, 18-17.
And at Richmond, Port Adelaide, 15-25, leading West Adelaide, 11-14.
Yeah, Brian, there's just noticed a photographer in the grandstand here, but you have to have a pretty good lens to get that shot of Whelan down the other end. However, we'll wait and see. There's the bounce at the centre. Up they go. The tap out goes to Howard. Howard gets a handball to Murphy. Murphy a handball further on to Miles. Miles a handball further on to Casey. On the half-forward line at the moment on the far side. A high drop punted towards the full forward area. Otten's in front this time. It goes over the back of the pack. It's off hands. Through goes Graham. Pushes the ball in front of him. Michael Graham. This is he turns around. A long handball to Noonan. Noonan from about 20 metres out gets another handball back to Graham. Graham on a very acute angle comes in alongside the behind post. Snaps down. That's through. A great goal by Michael Graham. By gee, that was good football. And that's his 2nd goal, Michael Graham. And the 25th to Sturt. They go to 25 goals, 16, 25-16, 166. Leading West Torrens, 13 goals, 14, 92. And since Billy Barrett come off the ground, West Torrens have gone further behind. The winners in the Victorian Football League today, Carlton, North Melbourne, Footscray, Geelong, Fitzroy and Collingwood. Waiting for umpire Murray Ducker to bounce the ball at the centre. There it is. And up they go. Big McKenzie gets a big tap out this time. Overrun by Pule there. He's still trying to pick the ball up. Can't do so. Robert Odie comes in. And McKenzie comes in and gives Robert Odie an enormous hip and shoulder, but he's pretty tough. He can take it. He's holding his chest now. I'll bet that took the wind out of him, which it obviously did. But umpire Murray Ducker said, I'll have it, fellas, because players stacked over the top of the ball. There's the bounce. And the game's all over here. About 3 minutes into time on. There's no time clock here, but a handball from Odie this time. Beautiful one to Murphy. Murphy up towards the centre half forward position. Off hands. Noonan there. Oh, went to handball. Got caught. Holding the ball must be. No, too high. Too high. He went the back turn and finished up in a sandwich. So there it is. Noonan at centre half forward. Looking for the lead. Kicking it high. No, it's looking for Whelan, but it's gone astray and it's been marked here by Brenton Bills. It's a bad kick by Noonan, not one of his best. There's Brenton Bills kick towards the far side of the ground, looking for Faletic. Interference there by the Sturt. No, wasn't going for the ball. Faletic picks the ball up, gets a long handball away towards Mark Pavlich. Mark Pavlich dodges around, gets it onto his, it was Floriani rather, onto his right foot towards the centre half forward position for West Torrens. Off hands, a very quick handball by Casey. Beautiful left-handed handball towards Murphy. Murphy kicks it up into that right forward pocket. It's Odie there all by himself. Steadies now from about 45 metres out. A long screw punt in towards the face, in towards the goals. That has been punched over the line by Freddie Bills, through for one behind. So another player off for West Torrens, Johnny Graham, I think it might be. He's coming off the ground. It is Johnny Graham. And the scores here at the moment at Football Park, 25 goals, 17, Sturt to West Torrens, 13 goals, 14. There's the kick out the far side. It's off hands. It's picked up by Faletic. Faletic gets a long handball towards Pule. Pule picks the ball up now after being in a bit of trouble. Gets it onto his right foot towards the centre of the ground, and Filkey has marked the ball on his chest. Looking for someone to handball it to going past. Changes his mind. Drops it into the centre half forward position, and a good mark taken by Marvel Hill in opposition to Nelson. Marvel Hill's played fairly well at centre half forward today. Marvel Hill only around about 45 metres out, directly in front of goals. Has 3 goals to his credit. There's a long screw punt going in towards goal. It's just going to make the distance, but it's offline and through for another behind. 13-15 now West Torrens. 13-15 to Sturt, 25-17. Scores from other grounds.
at Prospect. North Adelaide, 20 goal 22 to South Adelaide 14-11.
At Elizabeth, Centrals, 31 goals 12, defeating Woodville 16 goals 6.
At the Bay, Norwood 27-17, leading Glenelg 19-17.
Richmond, Port Adelaide 16-26, leading West Adelaide 11-14.
Bromleys. From the kick-off, it's eventually gone to Bagshaw. Bagshaw gets a long handball out to Murphy. Murphy's running down the centre of the ground. He's bounced it twice, 3 times. Ford, no, he's not going to bounce it the fourth. He puts the boot to ball, puts it up in the full forward area. Freddie Bills had it on his chest. It fell out onto the ground, and 2 or 3 players fell on top of the ball. Murray Ducker will bounce about 25 metres out from the northern goal. There's the bounce. Ottens is there for Sturt. Alexander is there for Torrens. The ball on the deck. A free kick is picked up, and it will go to Slater. The man has just come on and replaced Johnny Graham. Slater's kick finds Folletic on the eastern side centre wing. Folletic puts a nice pass down to Mulvihill, who was leading in front of Nelson, and Mulvihill marks. He tries to get it back to Folletic with a little shorter 40-yard pass, a punt pass, but Folletic eventually picks it up and has a shot from goal from deep out into that pocket. It's a little offline, and it's gone through for a point, or has it gone out of bounds? A point only results, and it will make Sturt's tally 25-18, Torrens 13-16. Winter tried a little pass out to the back pocket, or Bagshaw took the kick in to Winter. Winter eventually gets the handball back, runs down the eastern side boundary. A long punt looking for Miles. Miles can't mark it. It's knocked away from him by Floriani. Floriani recovers pretty well, picks it up, and puts a little 30-yard pass there further down the ground looking for Cousins, I think it is. Anyway, he gets the kick down into the full forward area from behind. Mulvihill gets his hands to it. The back of the pack, Bagshaw picks up the crumbs. It's a handball to Odie at centre-half back. Odie gets the handball out to Lloyd. Lloyd's in the centre of the ground. A lovely-looking pass to centre-half forward looking for Noonan. Finds Noonan. Noonan plays on immediately. Puts the pass out to Whelan and finds Whelan. 2 beautiful foot passes there by the Sturt players. Excellent football, and eventually a good mark taken by Whelan on his chest, coming in from the eastern side forward pocket, about 30 metres out. He's kicked 8 goals up until this stage. He's lining up for doctor's orders, number 9, and I think he's got the number 9. 2 fingers up by the goal umpire. A good goal by Whelan, another one to Sturt. They go to 26-17, leading Torrens 13-16.
And Whelan's kicked 2 in the first quarter, 1 in the second, 3 in the third, and 3 in this last quarter. So there's 9 goals on the board. And I think, if I remember rightly, he had 28 goals before the start of this game.
That's true. What 2 beautiful foot passes there were, Barry. Noonan's pass to Whelan. Who kicked it to Noonan? Can you remember? It was also a beautiful pass from the centre of the ground.
No, I can't remember.
No, they're 2 lovely. But anyway, there's the bounce. The knock comes out to Folletic. He tries a handball out to Floriani. Floriani can't pick it up. He was under pressure from Bagshaw. Bagshaw tries a handball, but it's intercepted by Mark Pavlik. Mark Pavlik puts a handball across to Folletic. Folletic gives the handball to Alexander on the eastern side centre wing. Alexander's under a lot of pressure. Can only kick it about 20 yards, where Puel leads in the race to the ball. He gets a handball to Mead. The siren sounds as Mead has his kick to towards the southern goal. And that's it from Football Park. Sturt winning 26-17, Torrens 13-16.
This is 5K for complete football.
Here
was here at Football Park. No, I can't repeat them. They've gone off the board. Here we are, 26 goals, 17 Sturt defeated West Torrens 13 goals, 16. Just before we have stats from Peter Parkinson, let's whip quickly around the grounds for scores.
At the 31st minute mark, North Adelaide 20 goals, 23, South Adelaide 15-11.
At Elizabeth, Centrals comfortably won 31-13 to 16-6 to Woodville.
31-minute mark at the Bay, Norwood 27-17, leading Glenelg 21-18.
At Richmond at the 30-minute mark, Port Adelaide 17-27, leading West Adelaide 12 goals 15.
Right, stats for the game here at Football Park between Sturt and West Torrens, Peter Parkinson.
Goal scorers for Sturt, 9 to Whelan, 5 to Comp, 3 to Ottens, 2 each to Greenslade, Davies, Graham, Otie, and 1 to Noonan. For Torrens, 3 to Mulvihill, Wallace and McKenzie, 2 to Poole, 1 each to Carman and Folletic. Free kicks, 36 to Sturt, 24 to West Torrens, marks, 96 to the Blues, 72 to Torrens, out of bounds on the full, once by both sides.
Thanks very much, Peter Parkinson. Now, the Brian Lees, just to go through the best players, we'll keep you in suspense for that great Sound 4 award this afternoon. The Sound 4 8-track car stereo player with twin speakers will be presented to a player in the dressing rooms after this particular segment. Now it's Brian Lees for quick comments.
Sturt won the game in the third quarter when they kicked 8-4 to Torrens 1-4. Howard, who hadn't been seen in the centre in the first half, came into the game and won centre in the second half. Davies, who had a good first half in ruck, and Bagshaw also were the dangerous players around the ground for Sturt, and they had a very capable full forward in Whelan, who finished with 8 goals, and Klomp's effort at centre half forward with his 4 were the key players for Sturt. Having a look first of all at the best players for Sturt. Well,
come on,
I don't know. Well, I'm trying to find the right one.
Yeah.
I think we'll go for Klomp. Klomp with his 4 goals, consistent all day, and was always a thorn in the Torrens side. Davies, another good ruck effort, whether on the ball or resting, a dangerous player. Bagshaw, similarly, we've mentioned him. Whelan, certainly a mention for his 8 goals today. 9 goals today. A tremendous effort after his 10 last week. Noonan's roving exhibition was consistent. And Winter at fullback was probably the best of the others. Oh, and I mentioned to Casey, too, on the half-back flank. Always a hard man to get past as far as Torrens were concerned. For West Torrens, I couldn't go past the flying doormat, young Ian Wallace. That typifies tremendous courage and is an excellent team man. A home in the rover, a promising player, this lad. Pavlik on a half-back flank, tried hard. That's not Steve Pavlik, Mark Pavlik, the rover. A very, very good effort from the first-year player. Valetic did many useful things. Mulver Hill started off in fine fashion but faded out of the game, but was nevertheless quite serviceable. Mackenzie's ruck effort was quite good, and that's about it as far as the Torrens side are concerned.
Right, well that wraps up today's Woody's football broadcast. Thanks for being with us. In just a moment we introduce Football Scoreboard with Victorian and South Australian Football League final scores with comments, goal kickers, best players and our special awards. In fact, our awards over the season total more than $3,000. And also, as I mentioned before, the special award, the SANFL Award today, which will go to the best on ground. So this is all coming to you on Complete Football Station 5KA.
It's not a
Football Scoreboard. Firstly, I'll give you the results here. The game here, Sturt defeated West Torrens rather easily in the end. 26 goals, 17 to West Torrens, 13 goals, 16. Victorian Football League final scores. Carlton 19-21 defeated South Melbourne 12-9. North Melbourne 22-20 defeated St Kilda 9-5. Footscray 17-12 defeated Essendon 8-16. Geelong 18-15 defeated Richmond 17-11. Fitzroy 18-16 defeated Hawthorn 13-16. And Collingwood 13-11 defeated Melbourne 12-7. Now for the results, goal kickers, best players and awards, we first of all go to Horrie Nelson at Prospect.
The final score out here at Prospect, North Adelaide running out comfortable winners, 20 goals, 23, 144 to South Adelaide, 15 goal, 11, 101. Well, it was a very good game till half-time, whereas I thought South Adelaide possibly should have been in front. They had a burst there in the second quarter when they kicked 5 goals, 4, and they had North Adelaide in trouble. But then the players such as Robin and McInnes came back and steadied North Adelaide, and they still led by 1 point at half-time. In the second half, South Adelaide were in attack. Keddy dropped the sitter right in front of goals, and after this, I feel South Adelaide dropped their bun a little bit, and then Robin cut loose at centre, and it was all North Adelaide for that quarter. They added 9 goals, 4 to only 2 goals, 2 by South Adelaide. And that was one quarter when I thought North Adelaide looked like what we'd expect them to look like. They looked like the side of last year. They had many good players. Their backing up, their handball was excellent. And over the whole day, they were far too good for South Adelaide's. The goal scorers, firstly for North Adelaide, 5 to Hurl, 3 to Rodney Robrin, 2 each to McGuinness, Payne, 1 each to Anderson, Eates, Marsh and Robinson. And I almost forgot Bomberto, who kicked 4. For South Adelaide, Schultz got 4, 2 each to Robbins, Dittmar and Keddy, 1 each to Darley, Stewie Palmer, Bennett, Peter Palmer and Jackman. Best players, well, North Adelaide had many good players, but I thought possibly Barry Jarman, he was the one that got them going when they were in trouble, and he had played well until that stage and finished the game off with another good last quarter. Not only did he play well at centre, but he takes a lot of the tap-outs when the North Adelaide rucks weren't going so well. Von Berto came into the game in the third quarter when he kicked 3 quick goals, had something like 32 kicks. Stringer on centre wing, Sash at centre half back, Robinson on the other wing, McGuinness in ruck went off the ground at three-quarter time, and McCann is a very, very strong player that played at centre-half forward. He's a first-year player and shows a ton of promise. For South Adelaide, they had plenty of good players when they had their burst, but after that they fell away, and their best players were Robbins, their rover, Kennett, Jackman, Schultz, and Isagar. He looked a much better player today, even though he was on Robin. He was standing in the centre. Robin had to go around the ground to take ruck throw-ins, etc. But Isagar played quite well for about a half, but then faded out the game in the last quarter. The awards. Firstly, the Bank of Adelaide 400. 3 points to Barry Jarman of North Adelaide, 2 points to G. Robbins of South Adelaide, and 1 point to Von Berto of North Adelaide. In the TAA Best First Year Player Award, 3 votes to P. McCann of North Adelaide, and 1 vote each to R. Eats and B. Anderson, also of North Adelaide. Just repeating the final score in the game at the Prospect Oval, North Adelaide's 20 goals, 23, 144 points, defeated South Adelaide, 15 goals, 11, 101 points.
Thanks very much, Horrie Nelson. You can now go home now, old son. Now it's across to Elizabeth and Jeff Potter.
Well, at Elizabeth, Central's run out comfortable winners, winning 31 goals 13, 199 to Woodville 16 goals 6. The game up till half-time looked like it was going to be quite a spectacle, with Woodville throwing everything into the game and playing as well as I've ever seen them play. But after half-time, it was just a one-way ticket up to Central's end. In fact, Central's kicked 20 goals in the last half, and it's cut Woodville right out of the game. This was mainly done because Central's won the diamond handsomely, with Casserly directing things in the middle and their rucks and their smaller players taking the ball away with ridiculous ease. We had Mobbs and Vivian and Ashmead. I reckon these players must have covered 50 miles today because they just kept running. And the Woodville players were nonplussed and just couldn't catch them. Goal scorers, Skinner kicked 5, Saywell 5, Casserly 4, Mobbs 4, Kleinig 3, Vivian 3, Reed 3, McClay 1, Ashmead 1, Clotley 1. And for Woodville, we had Sewer 4, Smith 4, McVicker 3, Peters 2, Allen 1, Wilmot 1, Dosner 1. And at the end of the game, well, it was just a procession. For the Bank of Adelaide $400 award, I gave Skinner 3 votes for his 5 goals. He played fantastic on the half-forward flank. He was always in everything. He ran around players as if they just weren't there, and he certainly cut Woodville to pieces. Vivian, well, this player, he just keeps running. No one can catch him. I reckon at times he runs and bounces the ball at least 50 yards, and he certainly, in the second half, well, Woodville just had no answer to them. Rodney Allen for Woodville, he was the only player that I would say that for Woodville that played 100 minutes of football. He kept trying all day, although his side was well beaten in the last half. He kept bobbing up and getting kicks. He was under pressure most of the time, but he certainly played well. Best players for Centrals, I gave Skinner, Vivian, Mobbs, Morey. This is a player that's in the state squad. I think he's going to certainly earn his position there. He certainly didn't let anything get past him today. Kleining, a busy little rover, kicked 3 goals. And Turon, a chappie, I believe, from Western Australia, he was in everything in the first half. For Woodville, it's a bit of a different matter. As I said, Allen played well. Sewer, he's a lad I thought may have had a chance in the state squad. He's done everything right. He's a left-foot lad. He's very deceptive. He kicked 4 goals today and was certainly not disgraced. Another lad I haven't seen was Peters, playing at centre-half forward. He was the main man, instrumental in Woodville's being up with Centrals up till half-time. Kicked 2 goals, and he certainly looks like he's going to be playing that position. Just repeating those final scores, Central Districts, 31 goals 13, defeated Woodville 16 goals 6.
Thanks very much, Jeff Potter. You can now make your long way back from the Elizabeth ground, old son. This is 5KA for complete football. Well, over the day, we hear from Lawrie Sweeney at Glenelg.
Yes, Barry, all the lights will be turned on out at the parade tonight, that is for sure, because Norwood, 27 goals, 17, 179 points, defeated Glenelg, 21-17, 143, a margin of 36 points, and their win was thoroughly deserved. Halfway through the third quarter, they picked up the bit from there, and then the rucks, rovers, half-forwards, everyone lifted for Norwood, and in the last quarter, it was just a devastating effort by them to brush aside Glenelg. At the end of the first term, Glenelg led by 6 points, and at half-time, when they went in for the break, they increased this lead by 4 points, leading by 10 points at half-time. But Norwood came back in the third quarter through a lift from Michael Gregg at centre half-forward, in so much at the end of the third quarter when Norwood led by 7 points, Neil Curley switched Big Carey onto Gregg and put Wayne Phillis at centre half-forward. But it was to no avail at all, because in the last quarter, Norwood added 9-3 to Glenelg 4-5. And that's a telling story in the fact of figures, because Norwood absolutely demoralised Glenelg. They were too fast, completely outclassed them in every department by backing up well, and it was a good systematic effort, and they had a good spearhead in Olsen, who finished up with 7 goals. Goal kickers for the game, for Norwood, Olsen 7, 4 to Woodcock, 3 each to Craig, Carman and Wynne, 2 each to Gallagher and Turbill, and 1 to Dillon. And for Glenelg, 4 each to Colin Anderson and Sandland, 3 to Wickens, 2 each to Bennett and Voigt, along with McFarlane, and 1 to Corns and Carey. For my Bank of Adelaide $400 award, I give 3 points to the Norwood centre man, Phil Carman. A fantastic effort by this player. I would say without any doubt at all that in the third quarter, Carman took the greatest mark that I have ever seen. He was head and shoulders above anybody else, and it was taken right in front of the stand here, and it was a glorious mark. But apart from that, Carman, he likes to roam, of course, away from centre, always putting his side into attack. He was here, there and everywhere, not much in defence, but a great effort from this player who, as I mentioned before the game,